I am here to speak on a little bit on the work of my organization, the International Multilateral Partnership Against Cyber Threats, or IMPACT in short. IMPACT is perhaps the newest addition to the United Nations family. We have become the cybersecurity executive arm of the United Nations under the purview of a specialized agency, the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU. IMPACT serves to provide cybersecurity support to all the 192 UN member countries, and serves to be a platform that garners together the resources of the governments, the private sector, the academia, and civil society. First, a little bit about cybersecurity and why it is so important to have an organization dedicated in the fight against cybersecurity. As we all know, cyber threats is not a threat that can be contained within physical borders. It does not matter what the domestic policies or the laws of a particular country is or can be. You cannot track cyber threats from your borders merely by the enacting of your domestic laws. Cyber threats recognizes no borders, and hence it has become a very elusive threat for governments to manage as a domestic issue. Because of that, there is a need for a global platform to address cyber threats collectively, getting together governments of the world, together with the resources of other important stakeholders. Cyber threats have become a key issue that's pertinent in this forum because, as I have mentioned earlier, and as we all know, cybersecurity is an essential enabler or a given that needs to be in place for any e-government initiatives to take place. It is the basis of trust for many of the e-government initiatives, and it is a condition that's necessary to make the potential of e-government to be realized. Some of the key challenges that is faced by governments and also the world today. First, as perhaps alluded by my colleague, Mr. Jerome, with current experience, there is lack of interoperable national or regional legal framework. Why this is so important is because, as I mentioned earlier also, cyber threats recognizes no borders. The very people that may be harming or may be meant to cause harm to cyber initiatives or e-government initiatives may not necessarily be residing in your country. A typical chain of cyber crime involves a situation where the victim is in one country, the payment server is in another, the website may be hosted in a third country, and it further adds to the confusion is the spread of cloud computing now. And finally, the criminal may be acting, may be present in another country. So having 3 or 4 countries in a chain of a single cyber crime is not uncommon. In fact, this is perhaps the most frustrating aspect of cyber crime as far as law enforcement officials are concerned. And that is why today, even though the incidence of cyber crime is on the rise, the successful rate of prosecution is very, very low and certainly not keeping up with the rise in cybercrime. The reason for this is can be attributed to the lack of harmonized legal frameworks among countries. It is one thing to have laws in one particular country, but in order to bring to justice or to bring to book the people responsible for a cybercrime, you need to have an entire chain of incident being able to have a single harmonized law that deals in things like preservation of evidence, modalities of dealing with proceedings and other pertinent legal issues. And that is why it's become a key challenge for us all. Now back to ITU and IMPACT. The IMPACT coalition, as we call it, is the platform to bring governments of the world together in addressing this issue. There are complex legal issues, there are complex technical issues, and also capacity building issues that needs to be tackled on a global front. 2 years ago, IMPACT was born with the membership of just 27 countries, 27 of the United Nations member states. Today, we have 126 countries in the IMPACT coalition. The IMPACT coalition brings together not just governments, but also the private sector, some of the key, some of the biggest key players, people like Microsoft, security niche players like Symantec Corporation, Kaspersky Labs, actually actively provide assistance to IMPACT on an hourly basis almost, to provide cyber threat information to the global community. IMPACT is maybe 2 years old, it's just a work in progress. However, I think in the last 2 years, we have significantly been able to deliver a great number of services to our constituents. IMPACT's aim is to act as a platform to bring together not just governments, but also industry experts, academia, other international organizations within and outside the UN system, organizations like the Interpol, for instance, into this equation. IMPACT, in turn, garners all these available resources and skills and technology and the key resources to service the 192 partner countries of the United Nations, and also the individual United Nations organizations like the FAO, WHO, and others. These are some sample of some of the countries that have joined the UN coalition. We have on the board 116 countries. That was true of last week. I just received a call from my office today to say that 10 more countries have joined in the last 3 days. So it is a rapidly increasing number of countries that we have under the IMPACT coalition. These are some of the industry partners as well as international organizations and the academia, as well as some of the partners under our Child Online Protection Program. I would like to return back to the question of legal framework, which is what this session is focused on. What does IMPACT offer to participating countries? Well, first of all, IMPACT allows its membership to have access to its resources. One of the resources that we have for regulators as well as officials, policy-making officials, is, if you like, a very basic roadmap to, first of all, understanding cybercrime, and second of all, understanding the options available for individual governments to enact effective legislative provision that is not only harmonized for international use, but also enables governments to provide necessary conducive environment for e-government initiatives. The toolkit, which was developed together with experts from the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, members of Foreign Bar Association, enables governments to understand options that are open to them and enact laws which are not only in their interest, but also ultimately enables effective cross-border prosecution in cases of cybercrime. So this is some of the, if you like, benefits or tools that are available to member states under the IMPACT ITU coalition. I would also like to share with you some of the pertinent, if you like, milestones and also benefits that are provided to our member states. The Global Response Center of IMPACT partners with some of the leading names in industry, some of those that I mentioned earlier, to provide hour-to-hour threat landscape information, cyber threat landscape information. This will be very pertinent to operators or custodians of e-government initiatives because, just to give you an example, if a particular e-government infrastructure has been compromised in one country, because of a vulnerability arising from the use of a certain platform, for instance. What we seek to do is to alert countries and governments running those same platforms of the vulnerabilities as well as potential case studies. Now, information like this, you may question why it's not being shared earlier, but the reality is that a lot of threat information actually ends up within the borders of a particular state. There is no incentive or mechanisms earlier to provide a forum or platform for governments to share information. Working with the UN, working with key industry players, Impact has been, in the last 6 months, have been trying to establish a mechanism where such information can be safely and effectively shared under the Global Response Center. Some of the other provisions or facilities that is provided is also a capacity building function within Impact. In the last 6 months, we have trained over 200 cybersecurity professionals and practitioners in developing countries. We've also deployed 151 scholarships to over 27 countries globally. We've also trained law enforcement officials from various countries working in consultation with technology companies on cyber forensics. In addition, we also have ongoing programs to ensure that governments keep up to date with knowledge on cyber threats so that they are able to translate that knowledge into action in their respective forums. And with that, I thank you all for your attention, and I have the privilege of now inviting our next panelist, Professor Kaili Khan, who's a professor of the School of Economics and Management of the Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications of China. Professor Khan's, over lunch, I had to do a conversation with Professor Khan, and I have the privilege of sharing with you that he's a very eminent academician. He's an alumni of Stanford University in the US, and in fact, he's one of the first alumni from mainland China, I believe, who just studied in Stanford at that time. And he's had a very varied career, both in government and in academia. And I'm sure he will be able to share with us some very interesting and pertinent aspects of the security in terms of e-government. Professor Khan, over to you.